I'm here with my sister, Anne Garcon.
Your favorite sister.
My favorite sister. She's my twin. Actually, Anne, let them know,
Sorry,
we're 11 months apart, right? We're literally 11 months apart, me and this young girl right here.
Yeah.
You
So
know
right
what I'm
now we're
saying?
actually the same age.
Actually, same age. We're 40 right
Until-
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until the end of this month. You know what I mean? My birthday hit the 27th,
Yeah.
and I'll be an older brother again. You know? But we're here, you know what I mean? And all right, so I'm doing a few interviews right now concerning, you know what I mean, the ups and downs and trials, the tribulation that we go through, you know what I'm saying, especially in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got this one particular song called Journey on the album. You heard it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your thoughts so far?
When y'all hear this,
Yeah.
it'll bless your life.
Yeah.
It just kind of really speaks to how everything we go through, there's a reason why we go through everything. And if we kind of look at it from that perspective,
Yeah.
we won't really be so down all the time. We'll
Yeah.
kind of look at it as an opportunity for God to really work through our
Yeah,
situation. you know?
absolutely.
So-
And you know, so with that being said, because I know we all got a journey in life, right? I had my journey, yeah, as brothers and sisters. We had our own journey, living in the same house at one point. But you getting married, starting a ministry, having children, all of that became a part of your journey and your
Yeah.
process. How have you? Because I know you're about to come out with an event. Really, tell me more about that real quick.
So on October 10th, this
Okay.
Saturday, is our 10-year anniversary.
10 years,
birthday
Ann.
celebration.
Hold on. So you telling me for 10 years you've been heavy in your personal ministry? Because I know you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, give a little history of what you've been doing, like in the past, like.
I mean, I grew up
Yeah.
in the
Right,
church, you
right.
know, in ministry, you know, just singing all over the place, choir directing,
Choir directoring.
directoring.
I love it.
You know, singing in groups here and there. But then I, you know, launched out on October 10th, 2010, and said yes to God, you know, after being, you
Wow.
know, in the background.
Right.
You know, I really didn't want it, but, you know, God said, do it. And I felt like the longer I delayed it, I was being disobedient. So,
And you came up with the whole NOW. What's the acronym? What is it? It's an acronym,
so it's
right?
not really an acronym. We tried to make it into an acronym, but it just
Yeah.
never worked out. So we're like, you know what? Now, what does the word mean? This present moment.
I love it.
Without further delay, doing what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
And I said yes and said
Yeah.
there was no turning back.
Right,
after
that's
that, You know?
So Anne Garcon and NOW. So now, hold on. So now it's been about 10 years where you guys have been heavy, you know what I mean, pushing the this whole campaign of doing it now. You know what I'm saying? So
That's all you
what has these past 10 years taught you, Anne Garcon? Let me know.
It taught me to do things in the moment.
In the moment.
To be present.
Yeah, present.
Don't just show up, right?
Right.
But be present and
Okay.
and intentional about what you're doing.
That's
and
good.
and in making God first, because we can get so caught up in ministry at times
Right,
where
right.
and this is something that I really was going through even with planning this whole celebration that we're having on Saturday. We can get so caught up with doing things for God that we miss the moment to spend time with God.
Whew.
Right? And we
Hold on, bro. You don't just say things like that and just, you know, that deserves repeating. Can you please say that again?
we get so caught up. We can get so caught up doing things
For God.
that we miss the opportunity to spend time
With God, bars.
right? Where that's the most important thing. Like God
True.
really don't need us to do anything for him.
Facts.
Right? He can do it all by himself.
Yeah.
But when we commune, we take that time to turn that computer off.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Reject that phone call.
Right.
Don't enter that Zoom meeting because you need to really connect with God.
Wow.
That's where he gives you the content.
Wow.
He gives you the instruction.
So you telling me that content and ideas, downloads, all that stuff comes from spending time with God. Okay. Wow.
I think it needs to come from spending time
Wow,
with
that's
God,
good.
because if you're doing it like, okay, let me think of what I'm gonna do
Right.
next. It's all coming from you,
Yeah,
like your
yeah.
fleshly,
Right.
thoughts and the way you want to add things to it.
Yeah.
But when you take that time and say, God, okay, what do you want me to do next?
Wow, that's good.
How do you want me to go about doing this?
Wow.
It becomes more effective.
So
It's
you
really
now
more about him.
I love it. So you're saying that we don't only need to spend time with him to get the download, but we need to spend time with him to get the strategy to execute that download.
Pretty much.
Wow, that's good. So okay, so can you again? We talking about the trials, tribulation, the ills of life, right? And was there a moment in your ministry where you felt like giving up? Was there a moment in your ministry where you know that you heard of God, you heard God told you to do this, but you met some kind of roadblock or whatever, some bump in the road, and you was like, you know what? And if you did, how did you bounce back?
I think I know there were many times that I felt like, okay.
Like right now, you feel like giving up.
Like it's almost like you get to this place where you're like, okay, am I even good enough? You know, am I worthy enough to even be doing what God has, you know, kind of called me to do? Because you kind of sit back and you're like, okay. And then you start to compare yourself to other people. That spirit of comparison is strong. It's heavy on a lot of people. And so the spirit of comparison, the spirit of fear, like, you know,
it's a big one.
I don't know if I can. And so, or, I messed up. Like,
okay.
Can I even stand
guilt.
and hold, guilt. Can I stand and hold the microphone?
So you have comparison, you have fear, and you have guilt.
Yes.
These things work against us from doing what God called us to do.
And it all worked against a lot of times where I wanted, had to go and minister. But when I remember the sacrifice that Jesus made and how I'm, he calls me worthy and I am forgiven, and I have to remind myself that he called me to this. He doesn't call and call us to be perfect.
Right.
But we have to seek that, right? Like we have to pursue that.
That's good.
It says, "Be ye holy, for I am holy." So being is a constant thing. You don't just be and then that's it. To be something or to become something is a progression.
It's a continual process.
Thing. And so I had to remind myself that we're not perfect, but God calls us to things that we got to just step up and just put Him first.
I love that. All right,
so he'll work through us.
All right, because somebody may be out there. I'm like, okay, Anne, I hear what you're saying. I really, I hear that talk. But can you give me a transparent moment in your life where you was like, it could have been ministry, it could have been outside of ministry, it could have just been a personal thing, it could have been a marital situation, it could have been a kid situation, whatever, financial thing. Can you give me one? Because people thrive, they want to know that, okay, oh, wow, that story right there, okay, I could really connect to that. Was there something, and I know, Anne, like, I know that you have a few, you know what I'm saying, but was there something in life that you're like, God, what's good with this? Like, this don't make any sense. But I see the joy that you have now. But it wasn't, you had moments where you was like, you know what I mean?
I mean, you'll always see joy when I show it.
Right.
Like, especially with social media, you can post a picture and people always think you're happy.
Right.
And that's the, kind of like where people kind of get led astray because they always think that people are, in this place. But I can think of many times where I was like, God, what's going on? Like, when I had my 2 miscarriages or when my dad
Talk about
died,
that. Talk about the miscarriage situation.
We were praying for so long to have a baby, and so.
How old are your children? You have
now I have a 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
One, okay. But before you got that one, there was a lot of.
Before I had that, but even before I had the first one, it was like a hard time really getting to that place of getting, conceiving. But then when I had my first 2, and then had the first miscarriage, I was like, okay, maybe, let me not be selfish because I have 2. There are people who don't have any, and then to have a second one, it's like, you start feeling like, okay, is something wrong with me? Like, God, what did I do? And then that just took a toll on me. And I just stopped asking God for certain things because I was like, you know what, maybe, I'm asking too much or,
So it affected your prayer life then, how you came to God? Like,
it did. Like, I had a little thing with God. And then when my dad died.
So you were mad at God?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Keep it a buck.
I was mad with God. And I was even more upset when he took my dad away. You know?
Talk about that. Yeah.
And then it built up something in me where I was struggling with forgiveness for, people.
Of course. Because the way that panned out was kind of like, oh, wow, really? This is what, our pops was a very, solid guy. He loved people. He loved them with
and we're not just saying it because he's our dad.
We're not saying that because of that. And everybody could attest to that. Yeah, everybody could attest to that.
A recurring testimony that people say. But he was a straight up.
He was a straight up man. He looked out for so many people. He was a man of the people, right? A man for the people, how would you say it? You know what I'm saying? He gave his life literally for people. And the way that panned out, I ain't gonna lie, it actually took a toll on me too. I didn't really understand, like, God, this doesn't really add up. To the point that I was really, in a space where I couldn't trust people, like you said, you know what I'm saying? But how have you been dealing with that process? Like, how are you
But
now?
I knew I had to let go of it.
You had to let go.
You can't
of course,
let it go. And every time I would look at that shirt, I'd be like, yo. Like there had to be a process of forgiveness and letting it go and just, kind of giving that burden to God. He says, take my yoke. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. So I had to literally place it in his hands because I couldn't even pray. Like, you know, the verse that says, you know, if you have an art with your brother,
Right.
like, and you're trying to offer something.
Leave your
so
altar.
I was thinking, like, if I'm trying to offer God my music, my
Wow.
songs, my worship,
Yeah.
is he even accepting it if I'm in this place of unforgiveness? And
Right.
like, so I had to really lay that burden at his feet.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's just like, even in this year, I'm being freed from that.
Wow.
I'm not saying I'm fully.
It's been 2 years since
It's
he's
been
been
2
gone.
years,
He's been
but
away.
It's just a process.
It's a process, and I think, like you said, like being is a process. I think forgiveness is a process. I think growing in the love and in the grace of God is a process. Like, we're not gonna have it all peachy and creamy all day, every day,
Yeah.
but we're growing into that now. Okay, let's segue. So I see that as you're processing through these emotions and feelings and whatever, you know what I mean? You're now creating music, new music right now. All right. How has your journey? How has it helped you in translating that into your art now, into your craft? Because you actually got a book coming out soon too, right? You know what I mean? Your book as well. How has that? Why? But let's talk more specifically about the music and this event coming up on the 10th. But how has that helped you? Because I know you got a record about to drop soon, right? Can we disclose that information?
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
sure. So that music, I'm sure. Because I heard the record, and you're on a different time with this one, because I can see that you're in a space where you're really tapping into that place where now your music always has been connecting to the people, but now more so, you have more weight to it. You know what I'm saying? So how has that process helped you in that articulation of your sound now?
I just feel like through this journey, I've grown
Wow.
in my word,
Yeah.
and in my experiences, you know, and kind of not just my experiences, but how I view my experiences,
Yeah.
and how I perceive it. Looking at the glass more half full than
Instead
half
of half
empty.
empty, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
More optimistic than pessimistic.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that kind of translates into what, you know, the music that I've been writing. And so, you know, there are some songs that come to you, and you gotta tarry with it. You
Right.
know, it takes a while for you to really like get it.
Yeah.
But then there are other ones that are straight
Downloads, yeah.
you know. And so, coming out with 2 songs, you're gonna be hearing 2 songs.
2 songs?
2.
Yo, this is new information. Yo, come on, man, bro, what's going on?
2 songs. And they just speak to, you know, how I now see God.
Wow.
And how God, and how like we all should see God, you know,
that's good.
and our relationship with God, and how we need to like really press in, and you know, how God never changes.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if we see him in that light, then everything that we're going through will be more
It's beautiful.
more optimistic about life.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
I like how you just said something. God never changes. Never change, right? People change, circumstances change, life change, but God remains the same. He never changed.
Constant.
He's only constant
only
factor.
constant. And so one song is called Consistent. Like, he
Wow.
remains
Woo.
consistent in everything that he does.
Love it.
There are no new tricks. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like, he is who he is.
is who he
And
is.
so when we go through things in life, if we remember that God doesn't change,
Wow.
his promises remain the
Wow.
same, then we're more confident
Wow.
that we're gonna get through.
On that
You know?
note, and I'm sorry, man, we gotta do a part 2. We gotta do a part 2 because I gotta do a session, and they got a big homie pulling up right now too, so we gotta holler at him too. So listen, that you heard it from, you know, my sis, my twin, Anne Garcon. Stay tuned for part 2 of this interview. But for now, make sure you guys tune in. Where can they see the event and all that?
Oh, it's going to be streamed on Facebook.
It's gonna be streamed on
Live.
Facebook.
It's going to be streamed on YouTube.
Okay.
At Anne Garcon and Now.
Anne Garcon and Now. All right. So make sure y'all tune in, guys.
This Saturday at 7 p.m.
This Saturday at 7 p.m. Love y'all to life. Listen, really, Anne, beautiful interview. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do this again.
Thank you.
You already know. Signing out.